A-levels can be overwhelming, but there happens to be a book written about a certain warrior, perhaps one of the greatest of all time, who, in the midst of one of the most important wars of his life, had a mental breakdown. The book I'm referring to is the Bhagavad Gita, and it has been read by the likes of Albert Einstein, Oppenheimer, Erwin Schrödinger, Niels Bohr, Carl Sagan, Werner Heisenberg, and Nikola Tesla. So, these guys, the work these guys have done is so godly. The work they did in the academic and scientific world, setting out to reveal the secrets of the universe, is still used today to push science further. And the fact that all of these guys were collectively inspired by this book and they all read this book means the book has to have a lot of meaning and aura. The book has certain ideas and philosophies that transform and raise you to a whole different platform of thinking. To clarify, this isn't a religious video, and the Bhagavad Gita is less of a religious book and more of a book that has ideas and concepts. It's more of a book that contains such deep philosophical insights and concepts that once you grasp fully, it transforms you. So, for context, the background of the book, there happened to be a royal family and it got separated into a good side and a bad side. So, a lot of events happened and the royal family was now split into a good side and a bad side, but they were still family. To decide who gets to rule the kingdom, a war was now inevitable. There's even some terrible things that had happened. The bad side had done some extremely terrible things to the good side of the family. So now a war was inevitable and a war had to be fought to decide who gets the kingdom. The side that loses would obviously be dead, and the side that wins would now get the kingdom. So, in the midst of this war, the good guys, the best warrior they had, his name was Arjuna. And it also happened that at the same time, the guy who we believe and worship as God, us Hindus, Krishna, was also alive at the same time. Arjuna and Krishna were friends, and Krishna volunteered to be the charioteer of Arjuna for the war. Let me paint the scene for you. A war was inevitable. The opposing armies now assemble on the battlefield. The war is to start in some hours, and the good Arjuna now arrives on the battlefield with his chariot, Krishna riding it, and he now observes the enemy army. Obviously, as I said, they were family. So in the enemy army, he sees his cousins, his family for a long time, his grandfather, his teachers who taught him all the archery and all the skills of a warrior. All these guys, due to certain oaths and promises, found themselves fighting for the bad side. And the good side had only the 5 good brothers. So, in the middle of this, Arjuna breaks down mentally due to very justifiable reasons. Firstly, to win the war, he would have to kill a lot of his family members. The opposing army was full of his family members, his cousins, his teachers, his grandfather, as I mentioned. So he would have to kill them. That thing invoked such a fear in him that he broke down. Secondly, he must also have had a fear of failure. Even though he was the greatest warrior of all time, the opposing army also had some great warriors who had the ability to kill him in war. So fear of failure and fear of death also added on to his pain. And so under all these emotions, while seeing the opposing army, he breaks down mentally. And the book has verses of what he says as he mentally breaks down. When Arjuna saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning." So, as you can see, it was quite a mental and physical breakdown. Perhaps even started crying. All these emotions pile up on him, and that's what happens. Krishna, being God, or at least we believe so, now has the responsibility to motivate Arjuna, inspire him, and get him to fight the war for righteousness, get him to win the war for righteousness, and ensure better better lives for the citizens of their country, because obviously the bad guys would be terrible kings. So now he speaks all this in order to give Arjuna the best knowledge as any human or any individual has possessed, knowledge in terms of spirituality and such knowledge. He gives all this knowledge to Arjuna so that he is now well able to fight this war he must fight. So we enter the cornerstone of the book. The cornerstone, the main idea of the book is perform your actions with no attachment to positive results. That's what Krishna emphasizes for most of the book. Why? Because you have no control over results anyway. Krishna explains this to Arjuna. You have no control over the outcome of this war. And Krishna is addressing Arjuna right now, but he's also attempting to address the whole of humanity who fights their daily battles. He is attempting to give knowledge to everyone on earth for millions of years to follow. And so the key point he emphasizes is, don't be attached to the results, positive results of your activities. All the work you do, don't expect or don't do it just because you want good results, because you have no control over the results beyond what you do. You have some control, but that control is only limited to the work you're doing. Beyond that work, you cannot influence the results. That's not in your hands. So Krishna emphasizes this. And so one would argue, fine, I'll sit down and do my work. But is it fine if I obsess over the results the whole time I'm doing work? Say you're preparing for an exam and you're reading for say 2 hours. But of those 2 hours, 10 to 20 minutes, you just got lost into a train of thoughts about whether you get good marks or not. So something like that. So Krishna says, why? Why would you even think about the results? What's the point? If anything, it makes you worry and it wastes time that you could invest in the actual work, which would actually have good chances of you getting good results. Thinking about it will not make you get good results. If anything, it's doing the opposite. He raises an important point. The insatiable and desperate want most people have to get positive results, just working for the sake of results. It's a stone tied to your neck and it's sinking you. It's not doing you any good. So Krishna says, abandon all these thoughts and desperation you have for good results. Remove that rock from your neck and you'll start floating. It's counterintuitive based on normal opinions. Like, people are motivated by results, which isn't bad, but according to this specific philosophy and this knowledge Krishna had, it does more bad than good. It's a rock tying you down and sinking you down. If anything, take it off and you will rise further. You will start floating. Fixating on the results will only have disadvantages. So don't be attached. Don't think about results. That's the cornerstone of the book. Just focus on what's actually in your hands, the work itself. Sitting down on the desk and just working. So Krishna told Arjuna explicitly, even if it's scary to him, the war's outcome is not in your hands. The outcome, Arjuna can fight to the best of his ability, and he's the strongest warrior. He can fight as good as he wants, but the war's outcome is not in his hands. He said this to Arjuna explicitly. Even if you strongly desire victory in this war, like almost everyone on earth, we want successful results for our work. So even if you strongly desire victory, it's not certain you'll get it. Even if Arjuna was the good guy. So yes, even if Arjuna was the good guy, Krishna told him, it's not certain just because you want to win the war, you'll win the war. Krishna said it to his face, with a smile on his face. Arjuna is here in mental breakdown, crying. But then Krishna, with a smile on his face, is enlightening Arjuna, but saying some things that could be frustrating for Arjuna, but it's the harsh truth. Krishna is being brutal here, but he must deliver the truth. He's not babying Arjuna or sugarcoating him and saying you will win the war. He's not lying to him, because that would be a lie. Motivating someone to do something by lying that you'll certainly win is not good, because it's a lie. You have to be brutally honest. So that's why Krishna was brutally honest. He says you might win or you might lose, That's not the point. Just fight. Just fight the war. Because fundamentally, does it even matter if any endeavor any person sets out to, if they win or lose? Does it truly and very deeply matter? So, this is where I personally like to combine it with scientific knowledge. Zooming out, what are we fundamentally? We live on a small speck of dust illuminated by the light of a single star in a pool of billions of others in our Milky Way galaxy, which is again a single galaxy in a pool of billions of other galaxies. And that's just the observable universe. So, with all that context, do you really worry too much about the one single day in August when you open your results? Do you worry about that more than you work hard in the months that led up to it? Zooming in, what are we fundamentally? Just atoms. Once you zoom in hard enough, you start entering quantum mechanical worlds. All of us are fundamentally just tiny energy waves bound together, holding matter in place, which gives us life. Fundamentally, we're all just atoms. The iron that flows in your blood carrying oxygen was made in the furnace of a dying star billions of years ago. So once you get all this context of zooming out and zooming in scientifically using science, astronomy and quantum physics, you lose all insatiable and desperation you have, all insatiable and desperate wants you have for positive results. And that's what Krishna's aim is, to make you detached from the results, because that will be better for you than desperately wanting results. So, does it really matter if you win or lose the war? He asks Arjuna. And Arjuna, obviously, he's trying to argue on behalf of all mankind. He's trying to exhaust all these arguments so that we get the best knowledge from Krishna. He keeps questioning him, does it matter? And Krishna will keep insisting it doesn't matter. You win or lose, just do your duty. This is where I remember this famous and very insightful quote from Brian Cox. What does it mean to live a finite, fragile life in an infinite, eternal universe? So, perhaps I answer like this. Perhaps it's this: not thinking about results and just living life while enjoying the process heavily, because perhaps that's what gives life meaning. It's no one's fault. It's not your fault when you obsess over results. It's just the human mind and its biology and its physiology. It's just engineered that way to make you worry and overthink. But you can counter it, and that's all this book is about. Krishna tells Arjuna, if you're not tempted by victory, then you won't fear or despise loss. You'll be in an ideal state. If you think like this, whether I lose or win, but I'm simply fighting because it's my duty. That's in Arjuna's context. I'm simply fighting this war because it's my duty. Then the worries of the results automatically vanish. You no longer worry. So yes, this is a very cool concept. Arjuna, again, as I said, Krishna is being brutally honest here. Arjuna might be crying, but Krishna is delivering the truth with a smile on his face, because such philosophies, this one in particular and similar ones, that detach you from results, that detach you from most material things, they lead to such happiness in every person who decides to follow them. Krishna is just constantly smiling throughout this war, even while in the middle of a battlefield where people are getting killed, pools of blood are being made. He is smiling because he is in such a platform of thinking. He is beyond such small thoughts and worries. It's so beautiful when you detach yourself fully from the results, because Krishna told Arjuna, you might lose. There is a mathematical probability you'll lose, but that's the beauty of it. You don't know. You don't have to worry about winning or losing. That's the core fundament. That's the concept fundamentally. Like, don't worry about the results. That's all Krishna is advocating for. It's such a beautiful concept, and I'll be honest, I haven't fully grasped it. I think I'm close to it, but not yet fully. Even worries of results will haunt me, but I'm working to it. I really hope one day it'll just click and one day it'll click so hard that I now fully realize the results don't matter. Okay, actually, I realize the results don't matter, but my biological mind just won't accept it yet. But I'll make it. I will read this philosophy and this book until it happens, until I'm fully detached and completely living mentally like a monk. You see, when Krishna said, "You might also lose the war" to Arjuna, I believed that was the beautiful part. When he said, "You might win," okay, yeah, but that's the plain part. And then when he says, "You might also lose," that's being brutally honest, but that's the truth. And that's the cold part which gives you liberation. So I, I will keep working towards even me fully implementing this concept in my mind and realizing it within myself. But until then, it's not yet in me yet, but we keep working on it because it's not easy. As Arjuna kept arguing with Krishna, debating rather, because again, he was debating on behalf of all of humanity. He was wishing to get all pure knowledge from Krishna by asking questions. He said it's not easy, and Krishna said, yes, it's not easy to fully get this concept into your mind, but you do it with practice. You do it gradually. You don't worry about results. You start thinking about bigger things like physics. When you start thinking about bigger and subatomic physics, it liberates you and makes you go on that path of detaching yourself from all small little things that happen on our small little planet here. Also, it's easy to interpret the message that Krishna said and the core idea behind the Gita as a pessimistic idea. You know how in Spider-Man No Way Home, MJ has this mindset. If you always expect disappointment, then when it doesn't go your way, you won't actually be disappointed. That's a pessimistic view, and you don't want that. No, and that's not what Krishna said. Krishna said something much deeper than that. He said be neutral. He said don't be affected or attached by your results. Because he's not saying you're going to lose. He's just saying there is a chance. Even Arjuna, he was told by Krishna that he may lose. But at the end of the day, Arjuna won the war. Because Arjuna did his best. He fought the war his best. And yeah, so at the end, even Arjuna won the war. So even you, Krishna is just saying don't think about the results. He's not saying think about losing so that when you actually lose, you're not sad. No, he's saying don't think about the results so that even if you lose, you will not be sad, even without a prior pessimistic mindset. And if you win, you don't become arrogant because of it, if it's a big win. So that's what he's saying. He's saying be beyond your results. Let your results be beneath you. You just focus on your work while understanding that the universe is much bigger than that. Because again, the scientific insights I told you, those should help you detach yourselves from both the victory and the failure part. So don't have a pessimistic mindset that let me just expect failure so that if I actually fail, I won't be sad. No. He said don't expect either. He said don't think about it. He just said don't have thoughts about it. Don't be desperate for them. That's the main message Krishna is saying. Don't think about your results, don't be attached to them, but don't be a pessimist. It's all about being neutral. Neither this side, the positive side, neither the negative side. It's all about being on the zero, neutral. The neutrality is what gets you peace. And none of the other sides of the spectrum. Both the other sides of the spectrum aren't as good as you think. Obviously the bad side of the spectrum, but then even the good one, Krishna says if it excites you too much and makes you attached to results and anything material in this world, it's bad for you. So he said don't wander around either side of the spectrum. Just be in the middle at zero, neutrality. The interpretation Krishna wants you to make is the deeper one, where you think of yourself beyond the results. The results are beneath you, both good and bad. It's not expecting disappointment or expecting success. It's about not thinking about it, just working and removing that rock tied to your neck which is bringing you down. So whether you lose or win, that's a concept of now equanimity. It's also another concept that's developed deeply in this book, equanimity. And now I'll just quote some verses in the book. O Arjuna, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. That makes sense. Winter and summer are natural things, and no one, you won't see a man crying just because summer ended and winter started. Similarly, apply that to your life. Don't treat small ups and small downs, and even big ups and big downs. Fundamentally, it's about treating all ups and all downs as equal, not getting disturbed by any of them. All ups and downs in life, Krishna says, treat them equally. Never let them get to you. Another verse, 238. He tells Arjuna, do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by doing so, you shall never incur sin. He tells Arjuna this. Because at one point, Arjuna, a religious man, was also worried he'll incur sin by killing his family members. But Krishna relieves him of this by telling him this. And then 248. Perform your duty equiposed, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. The beautiful part of the book is people keep saying, don't be affected by failure. That's straightforward. But Krishna is saying, don't even be attached to success. Both are bad. The positive and the negative are both bad. Because let's speak mathematically. The negative and the positive are just mirrors of each other from zero. So 0 would be the best spot to live at. Neither affected by happiness in a good way, nor affected by sadness in a bad way. Treating both equally. Most philosophies will tell you to not be affected by bad stuff, by negative times. But Krishna is saying, don't be overexcited or even at all excited by good stuff. Be calm and composed in both. That's the way to balance. Otherwise, if you lean towards success, if you lean towards good things, it's only bad things that you mentally control. The good things will get to your head, and even those will end up destroying you. So it's finding a balance between not getting affected by either. Both are bad in some sense. So, victory or loss, pleasure or pain, life or death, respect or disrespect. Don't get puzzled by these dualities. Treat all of these as equal. Treat all the antitheses of each victory and defeat. Treat both equally. That's what Krishna is saying. And then finally, you'll achieve peace. He who is not excited by happiness or devastated by failure has achieved the ideal mindset, and he is the guy who will actually remain happy. The other one will be worried, and no one wants to be worried. All of us want to be happy. So the ideal mindset, according to Krishna, is this. Again, another concept Krishna developed. Arjuna was being selfish. He was thinking about not fighting the war and fearing it because of selfish things. Firstly, he's worried about winning or losing. That's being selfish. He's worried about killing his own family members. That's being selfish. So Krishna says, treat the war and think about the war and how it will benefit the wider society, the citizens of the country they were fighting for. Think about how you guys are clearly the better leaders. He's telling Arjuna this. You are the better leaders. Think about after you fight the war, you will ensure that these citizens are happier compared to if the bad guys were to rule the country. So, and according to some philosophies, most philosophies, they tend to extend this idea that you are not a single individual entity. You are part and parcel of the whole universe. You are a living fragment of the whole universe. And that's also according to science. According to science, we are just a bunch of atoms that have life. Even this book is made of atoms, but this book is dead. While I myself am made of roughly the same carbon, hydrogen, oxygen composition, but I am alive. I am just a living embodiment of the universe, and so are all of you. So think of yourself as that. Lose all sense of proprietorship and become selfless. That's what Krishna is saying. Lose this sense of selfishness and lose all the sense of proprietorship. You are the whole universe. You are part of the universe, and by extension, you are the whole universe. Every living entity is. So lose all selfishness and become selfless. That's what Krishna is saying. He tells Arjuna to act in the interest of everyone and everything, not just his own interests. even if it means uncomfortably fighting this war and killing your own family members. Even though they were bad people, Arjuna still has emotions for them. He's still sentimentally attached to them, because who would kill even a mean family member? So even if it makes you uncomfortable, for the betterment of this country, fight the war and kill your enemies. So the ideal man, Krishna also says this, the ideal man, all he does for himself is acquire the basic necessities of life. All his other actions are targeted towards betterment of everyone else. So the only thing he'll do for himself is acquire the basic necessities of life: food, water, clothes, shelter. And then all his other work will all be targeted towards doing more good for everyone and everything else, all other living things. Conservation of the planet. Nowadays that the planet is in quite some danger. All such good works, such noble works is what Krishna is advocating for. And then finally, the final concept I'll develop, 605. Krishna says, one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So here Krishna is obviously talking about how the mind can be your friend and enemy. And this thing has been said by so many philosophers and stoics. You must conquer your mind. Everyone must conquer their mind, because biologically, again, the mind is just made to firstly wander with desires, then worry. It's just a mess, and you must control the storm if you are to live according to what Krishna said, and if you are to live happily. No one's coming to save you. Become the master of your own sea. That's also what Krishna implied from that verse. Don't allow your life to spiral into chaos. Take charge and accountability for yourself. Do active, conscious work that takes you towards your goals. So, all that knowledge, and there is more. This book is massive with so many other concepts and ideas. All this knowledge should be a good place for you and me to go back to when someday during our A levels or even further on in life, there is a mental problem, a mental difficulty, and we're just mentally breaking down. So this video was made with that intention. Somewhere you can refer back to, somewhere you can fall back to and get the knowledge to motivate you again to keep fighting. You're not guaranteed the win. Again, this point needs to be emphasized as much as it can. Krishna never said to Arjuna, you will win the war, even if he was a good guy. He might lose. The universe decides the outcome. The outcome is not in your hands, so don't be attached to it. The universe does it. You simply do your work. Show up at your desk, show up on the field, show up at the running track, show up on the swimming pool, show up at the gym. Just do your work, leave the results to the universe, because that's how it was intended to be. Even if no matter how desperate you are, you cannot influence the results. The universe is higher than you in that regard. So yes, such ideas, all these ideas, perhaps if I find more time, I'll make another video, because this book is a sea of just philosophical and positive ideas. So I make another video, hopefully on the same book in some time, but this video should be good to motivate everyone and help them. Yes, thank you for watching, and try to find a physical or online copy. There's hundreds of free online copies you can find of the book, so try finding that and perhaps read a verse or two every single day, and that will just raise you to thinking mindsets and thinking systems and mindsets that are known to work, like all those extremely successful people I mentioned. Yes, thank you.